And we're live. What's up, everybody?
What up?
Oh my gosh.
What's up?
It's been a crazy, eventful week.
It has been. Life caught up with us.
Yeah, it's called COVID. COVID took me out pretty hard.
Yep.
I
Let's see.
thought it was fake. I thought it was all fake news.
No, and apparently you can still get it when you're vaccinated. So,
Glad you didn't die, man. Glad you didn't die.
yeah, and just a couple of rough days, but made it through, so all good now. Feeling better. Made it over that hump.
That's good.
It's good to see you, Rix. It's good to be back with you. Qatar, it's good to see your face. I'm super excited about tonight. It's been a minute, so missed y'all.
Ew. The only
Turn up your volume,
one of
Rick.
us that was actually
Yeah, you need to pump up your volume a bit.
Who?
Rick.
Or just
Non-zero
move your
Rick.
Move your mouth closer to the receptacle.
We can hear you fine, but
How about now?
that's
Testing.
my judgment.
Whoa!
It works.
It works.
How about now? Does it work?
Mr. Bill
Yeah.
says we have good audio and video, so
Awesome.
All right, good.
I think we're doing good.
Hold on. Let me just. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up on things here for a second. Just give me a second.
Welcome everyone in the chat. Appreciate y'all coming out. Sorry for the week off. We definitely had some life happen, but we're back and we got some discussion, some things to break down tonight. Right, Kintaro?
Yes, we have. We are coattailing on the successful RF Village this year.
Extremely successful RF Village.
As always, shamelessly, we will leverage off our friendship and our acquaintances for as long as we can for free content that I don't have to think about. So we started out with Grimace right after the contest. We had Arc from Wiggle On, and then we had White Shadow, and we're closing out the whole thing with the Council of Ricks on catching up again.
It's just a damn shame Grimace doesn't know how to war drive.
Yeah, there is that. Oh.
We really need to play one of these years just to,
Yeah.
teach everybody what the real score should be.
Oh, shots fired! Boo, 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 boo.
But who will run the architecture and the servers?
Well, it's all
Nothing
running
will go
now.
down. The first year everything works, I'll compete. How's that?
Is this going to be like an Order of the Overflow situation where you guys hand it off?
No.
I
We'll die
mean,
with
strictly
it.
speaking, it's all open source, and it's not like we don't take volunteers, but volunteer.
Mm.
And I don't mean volunteer like, hey, I want to help. I mean, just start helping. Join the Discord, send us pull requests. Like, just start helping. We've got people helping. Just start helping. It's great. Take over. Do this so I don't have to.
Oh,
you heard
come
it here,
on.
folks. Rick
Come
wants
on.
out of a job.
We need you to like always be there for us when we have like, hey, this shit doesn't work, man.
Works on my shit.
Play.
Yeah, and then Zero be like, no, it doesn't. No, it's fine. It works fine here. I
Works
don't
for
know
my
what the problem
box.
is. Yeah, it works for my box. I don't know what the fucking problem you
So
you
you
have.
do know that he has solved that problem too, because the genius of Zero, the Docker container does work on his box, and you know what? Wow, it works on yours too.
Everyone's playing the same Amazon instance now. So, like, it works on my box and it works on your box because your box is a copy of my box. It's
So-
great.
So literally, my computer is your computer situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also have a root log onto it, but don't think about that.
So if I leave it up, it's helping you. Is that what you're saying?
Strictly
It's not.
speaking,
It's not
totally
mining
spending money.
anything.
Oh god, those things are so slow. The way Amazon works, for those of you who don't know, on the lower tiers, they schedule it out so like they give you this CPU, but you're allowed to use 20% of it on an ongoing basis. So if you spend no CPU for 5 minutes, you can burst to 100% for 1 minute, and then it drops you back down to 20%. So like
Wow.
if you fire up yours at the beginning and you do nothing for a few hours and you come into it, you get full CPU for a while you work. But you get a lot of these folks that are like putting their brute forcers on first thing, and it just burns all the CPU credit all the time. And I mean, there's only so much I can pay for, right? Like these things are pretty decent, but when you're doing like a brute forcer or some, you know, password cracking attack for much longer than my word list, you're gonna run out of CPU real quick.
Yeah, for those playing, there's a good reason we give you a word list that we know how long it should take.
Right.
Yeah. I'm literally spending my own money if I make the word list bigger. Like, this is not an accident that we're using shorter word lists this year and last year than we did before.
Yep. And the point, I mean, frankly, the point, we're not a password cracking conference or game. That's not the point. It's to get through the wireless cracking, get through the process, make sure you know how to do it.
Yeah.
If we gave you a 10-word word list, you would look at it and say, well, these are the 10 flags. So we have to make it hard enough for you to have to go through it, but easy enough to be like, well, if you did it right, you'll get an information in, 3 or 4 minutes. We don't want it to be 20.
So submitting the whole word list every time doesn't work?
No.
Oh, no, it does.
There was that happened.
Yeah, so if you submit the whole word list one thing at a time, you will find that there's 100 randomly selected words from the word list that are negative 250 points each. And that is completely permissible. You can totally do that, and you can enjoy.
Interesting.
We do kind of ban IPs for that, though, because it really slows down the scoreboard. We had somebody submitting keys at like 12,000 a second or something stupid.
What?
Yeah.
How many did they get right?
Oh, they got all the wrong ones.
Why is my score going negative? Oh, jeez.
All right, I'm hearing a piercing sound.
Yeah. I think it's Rick's voice because his mic's not working anymore.
Oh. Yeah.
Did we lose Rick's?
Either that or his voice frequency just dropped into like ultrasonic and we can't hear shit.
Really need a low pass filter on this.
How about now? How about
There
now?
we go.
Better.
What the hell? I hate computers.
As all 5 listeners in chat start crying.
Suddenly people start bleeding from their eyes. We might have an actual incident. Maybe it's a cyber attack.
This is how we keep all the kids off the stream. They're too young to learn to hack if they can hear that sound.
Oh man, I'm gonna blame
Everybody's
COVID
like,
for me not
my
hearing
ears. It's just like, who summoned the dark? Thank God I'm not wearing headphones. People, young people shield. Good to hear everybody back. We miss you. All right, so we have it. Council of Ricks, how was this year compared to last year?
Great.
I think this year was smoother. I think we had different amount of participation, and I am blown away by blowing away the wiggle numbers again this year.
Once again.
Yeah,
Once again,
congratulations.
I mean, we topped last year's numbers and we topped 1 million. So I mean, it's like there's still a lot of people. There's still a lot of Wi-Fi out there that, well, shit. People say there's nothing new to in Wi-Fi. Like you be wrong.
Well, there is. I think we finished off around 1.4 this year. If I'm correct, I think we were 1.1 last year. So it's 300,000 more APs in the 5 days that we did it.
Yeah, I think Eric was mentioning that we actually doubled the number of war drivers too this year.
I think so.
Yeah.
It was like 90 something or whatnot compared to 40 last year. So I think overall it was a very great success. How was the competition itself? Was there more teams and more players this year, or?
There were both more teams and more players this year for the main RFCTF and the War Drive, which was great. Yeah. We also had a more level of participation, like more people were actually scoring. And 3 of the teams basically cleared the scoreboard, and their score, the final, was decided by the war driving, which is totally awesome and something we need to work on for moving forward. The big difference between last year and this year, and I said this in our debrief about half an hour ago, the smell in the RF Village this year was a lot better. because I actually had time to shower. Last year, like literally, we built this whole thing leading up to the conference, right? And now it's had a year of during the conference. The Wi-Fi didn't come up until Friday at like Saturday at 3 a.m. I think.
Saturday,
yeah. Like it all worked ish eventually, but we had basically 12 months to make it not suck and held together with shoestring and bubblegum. And we MacGyvered the shit out of it. And I am proud of last year, but like this year we turned it on and things just kind of worked.
That's awesome.
Like,
yeah, there was a point in time on Friday where I called Rick and I'm like, hey, this is really working, isn't it? And he's like, yeah, but don't tell it.
I see your net goes, the smell in my ward walking village needed ventilation. So I assume you had a much calmer year than compared to last year.
Yeah.
It was a lot calmer, except for one specific thing, which I think I mentioned on the last one. We did have a security event where one of the contestants reported a massive security failure to me. And that was an exciting hour or so as I blindly patched everybody in situ and made an updated image that didn't have that bug. But yeah, I left SSH open on the router with no password. That was kind of a little whoopsie.
Yep.
Yeah. The way all of this works is it's a bunch of Docker containers, and I release all of the stuff publicly, right? But obviously I can't release the actual configs we use for the game, right? Because that kind of makes the game a little bit too easy. So what we do is we literally run the public container and then we just bind mount in our configs. I neglected to bind mount in the SSH config. So we went from doing it one way like a few months ago and changed it at this conference. So instead of like mounting in the whole folder, I mounted in each file separately. And I missed one because of course I did. And I missed that one because of course I did. And I rewrote that as a freaking bash loop to make sure that it mounts every single file every time. But a little late. That rewrite was after the report was handed to me. So,
Mr. Bill goes YOLO sick.
This is a game and it's supposed to be fun, and that person clearly was having fun. So more power to them.
Yeah. I think as a participant and like, not the war driving, but the general, even the war driving too, but like in general, I think I had a better sense of what to do, because last year I was kind of like, I'm in general, I'm stumbling through the dark with my fingers out, but this year it was a little bit more clear. It was like, oh, this is how I do this and this is how I do that. So I think
was that due to you practicing more, or we had better instructions, or you were just
I think it was a little bit of both. I think the instructions were better. Definitely the Discord helped. Because I could see people having chats on it, and then at the same time, I was more used to the environment.
Right, it's the second year of it, so it's always helpful that there's been a.
What do you know? You didn't crack shit. I even don't know. Did you actually log into an instance?
No.
I'm like, oh yeah, I think it's the second year. Like, you don't know shit. You're still like, I'm totally not preparing for that one-on-one with you and me, man. I'm just gonna be like,
let's go, dude. I'm ready.
Yeah. But
I mean, to be fair, if you're sitting at a console, you're running Aerodome, or you're sitting at a console.
Your mic hates you, Rick.
Your mic just sucks ass.
You talk and then it just drops to the floor.
You should probably just change the auto adjust volume thing or whatever it is.
I am. I'm on volume. I'm looking at volume. Watching it go down.
He's like, I'm on volume.
I watched it go down.
The truth is he works in security, and this is a security feature. He's got a tool that monitors the mic all the time. And as soon as it hears anything, it immediately mutes it. It's to prevent, China from listening in.
Right.
To prevent me from saying something stupid.
Too late, because only those things come through every time. The non-important phrases come through, except for the important things like, well, technically.
Oh my God. Is that better? Is that working?
That's a little overdriven, like 20% down.
20% down now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's perfect.
Nailed it.
I will
Nailed
leave
it.
this screen up. Nailed it. Good. All right, I'm just going to put my settings window over Alcantara's face. It's a much more pleasant view.
Hey, Lozaning has a suggestion. Maybe you're using a speaker as a mic.
Maybe if I wasn't traveling, it wouldn't be a problem. I'm on a freaking 13-inch laptop.
But you were saying? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Something about Aerodump. I caught Aerodump.
No, if you're sitting at a console running Aerodump, or you're sitting at a console or a web interface looking at Kismet, there's really no difference anymore with the CTF logging in online than there is sitting at your desk or sitting at a computer,
Wi-Fi.
sitting at your laptop for Wi-Fi, right?
Right.
And hopefully, based on some conversations and some planning we've been doing, SDR will be very similar next year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we really like this game. I mean, we talked about it last time, and we've talked about it before. Like, having this option gives people who can't come to the conference the ability to play. This is never going away. Like, I think at this point, we've gotten it to the point where it costs us like a couple of bucks a player to let this just happen. And I'm down for that until we run out of money. Like, I want people to play. So, like, we'll have cool stuff at the physical conferences, and we will do physical conferences when that's a thing again, but like it costs me a few dollars to turn this on for people to play.
Yeah.
Like this is here. I'm going to keep developing it. We're going to keep letting people practice. We're going to keep releasing it for free. Like I like this. I think it's awesome that people can be a part of this.
Yeah, I
it's
think
really cool.
I think the SDR challenges could use a little bit more write-ups and tutorials, and maybe the Wi-Fi stuff, because I'm used to it, maybe, or SDR wasn't just my thing. Trying to get the environment up and running for me was a little bit of a hassle, but
You should just ran Pen 2.
well, fuck you.
I will say, Kintara, to be fair, in the last 5 to 7 years, SDR has gotten a lot bigger.
Mhm.
Problem is, it's only gotten a lot bigger with the people that wanted it to get bigger for them.
Right.
It definitely, I know when we don't use it a lot for whatever reason, you got to go back and you got to take the time to go through it. It's like everything else, but you have to immerse yourself in SDR for a while to really get comfortable with it, to start understanding the signals, signaling, what those signals mean, how to decode them, those kinds of things. It takes time. It really does. And folks that are working it, I've seen it. Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen a massive improvement in the players with SDR over the last 3 or 4 years.
Absolutely. And it's definitely not the tools that are getting better.
No.
I think there's more tools and none of them are better.
No.
Okay, some of them are better, but it's definitely not an easy thing to just walk in and sit down and do SDR stuff, which is one of the reasons I'm so excited that we've got as good of a virtualization as we have, and we're trying to make it better, because this stuff is really expensive and really not newbie friendly. Like there's a very few finite things you can do right off the bat, and it's like, oh cool, I can listen to a broadcast FM station with $2,500 of hardware, and I can see my car clicker, and that's cool. And now what do I do? And at that stage, you really have to start to invest some time. And I love that people are doing it because it is just so much fun. I've got a big antenna and I've split it out to, at this point, 10 RTLs, and I'm decoding everything around me just because I wondered what was going on.
He still keeps trying to say he has a big antenna. He had to get that in there.
I do. It's huge, man. I can only set up half of it because there's not enough room in my office. Like if I turn my head too fast, it's going to poke out my eye. I had to leave some of the radios off.
But for those in your position, Kintara, I mean, honestly, the best way to immerse yourself is to find a project.
Yeah, I agree.
I took on a 5G project where I actually had to build a base station and connectors and pairing pairs and the connector up to the stations, and it taught me so much about the flexibility and the functionality and what you can do. Because, you know, like Rick said, Zero said, you can listen to FM broadcast, you can listen to, you know, somebody keying up a mic, but when you start getting into things like, I don't know, B-Sides DC about 6 years ago when we added to the audio of Marpet while he was being interviewed. You know, that's when you start learning how this stuff works. Sorry, Josh.
Not sorry.
He ain't here. He will never see this anyway. So, I'm
record that whole thing too, which is pretty funny.
I'll probably tag him in the show notes just for the hell of it.
You should. Just tag his hat. Don't tag him.
No, I agree, and I think, you know, you're absolutely right. I think it's more of me getting used to the environment and diving into the. Like I said, I mean, Wi-Fi is something that I'm feeling pretty comfortable about, and I know where, you know, where I need to focus on more. Now that I confidently can crack web, unless it's an open client with no open AP with no clients on it. Clearly, that one was harder for me. I was like, how the fuck do you crack a AP that has no clients on it? No, I think you're absolutely right, and I think, you know, the virtual aspect of it allows you to set up an environment a little bit more easier, I guess, and spend a year setting up things. And like, I'm already, you know, I took this year. One thing I did notice for myself is that I started taking notes on what I did so that I don't have to visit again. You know, last year I was just kind of playing in it. I wasn't really dedicated enough. And, you know, this year I said, okay, I'm just going to let this scan run for a couple hours while I go walk.
Yep.
You know, so, you know, the balance, I really enjoy that balance, you know. It's like, you know, I'll come back and upload my war driving data, and then I'll check over to the other things and, you know, and start cracking on other things. So no, I think it is fun. I didn't check, but was the number of flags taken this year, was it more than last year, or was it about the same?
More. Three teams more or less cleared the scoreboard. Two of them fully cleared the scoreboard. I think the third one just missed it. And that's on mostly me, but you know, all of the team. We have spent a lot of time perfecting what we had when we started this last year, and not a lot of time expanding it, to the point where I actually personally got really militant about, like, this is how it needs to work if you want to be part of this game. Anything that is not up to that standard, we're just not going to put in, because it's too much effort to roll something into what we've built and then tear it out after one conference. So like that, it has to be built so that we can roll the keys, and it has to be documented so that people can play it and all of that stuff. Like we built a policy on how to get things into the game, and we stuck to it. And because there was a really decent amount of this needs fixed, this needs update, this needs changed, just to keep the existing content, we didn't add much over the last year. We did add a few things, but they were reasonably small. Now that things are mostly working, we're looking at improving the simulation. Rick alluded to some SDR stuff we're planning to improve on, and then improving the environment itself, giving you more tools so you can play the SDR better from the AWS environment, and expanding those challenges back out. Now that we're not so desperately fixing things, we can just go through and start adding things again.
So what you're saying, next year will be full chaos again, is what you're saying?
We had a long time where every single conference, they were all new challenges.
All right.
And then we built architecture, and now we've got a solid, I would say better than solid architecture for live as well as virtual. Now it's time. Our most of our next, I'm going to say 6 months or so, is going to be dedicated to coming up with new challenges. I don't want somebody to sit down anymore and say, you know, RFCTF 03 is blah, so I'm just going to do this, and this. Okay, I'm done. We want to get it where the challenges are harder and easier. We want some noob stuff and some harder stuff. And we're looking at ways of kind of balancing out the scoreboard to some of the experienced players and teams versus some of the non-experienced players and teams. So that's kind of the next iteration of all this.
Has that been kind of a problem of trying to figure out how to balance the scoreboard over the years?
It's always been a problem because people get really good at it, and in some instances they stop playing, or we retire them, or we listen to Discord and they're like, no, we want the competition, we want to see this. Well, when you got the same top 4 or 5 teams being always the top 4 or 5 teams, that means we need to do better. So that's our next challenge.
The scoreboard being cleared, as far as I'm concerned, and Rick's in the same boat, is a failure on our team.
Yes.
There should always be so much stuff that no one can clear the scoreboard. There should be enough new things that people are just like, crap, I've never seen that before. I don't know what to do.
Yep.
And that's something we've prided ourselves on for years, is nobody's cleared the scoreboard in like 5 or 6 years, I think. Like that was the last time that happened. And we try really hard to have fresh stuff. But at conferences, when we're doing physical, it's just, let's bring a few new things and we'll take them out of the box and we'll tell people to hack it and we'll like throw it on the scoreboard and good luck. But with the requirements on adding it into the current environment, it's way, way harder to add challenges. So again, now that our focus can be moved more towards that, we're going to, but it's slowed down our development because we had to circle around and do, DevOps crap and, making this system that we give thousands of people access to something that is reasonably secure. All the passwords are on that box that you have access to, right? Straight up. The whole thing's there. If you can get access to that part, you win. So we kind of have to make sure that you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge with what we've done from the early inception, from when I first took it over and we started running with this thing, was how do we create something that is using a relatively well-known protocol, being Wi-Fi when we first started, make something challenging enough for people to be interested, and make it solid enough that people can't break it for 4 straight days with some of the, I'm going to say this air quoting, but I won't put my hands up because I don't want the video, of the most elite hackers in the world. I would say that a lot of people that are really good at this aren't playing yet because there is that imposter syndrome of, what if I suck, I'm not going to look good. But at the same time, we want to make it so that the best of the best can go after it. And 3 times in 12 or 13 or 14 years, we've been beat. And I'll take those odds out of 400 or 500 conferences.
Yeah, I think, and that's as a player, there's definitely, as a visible player, meaning as invisible, like, people have thoughts about me. I think that was a part that I played once and as some noob, because I figured this was my first time playing in the wireless RFCTF, and I just wanted to see what's around without having my name attached to my score.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It is intimidating to walk in and sit down and be like, everyone's going to judge me based on the fact that I can't crack web. Yeah, matter. And that's tough, right?
See, I'm constantly getting shit, so.
And I think that's a hurdle for me to overcome, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm visible. I'm pretty good at the war driving, so that's something I don't have any issue with. I'm fine getting my ass handed to by Grimace, wait, I did all of that and I still scored less, or Spike Roche or IC, and then all the players in the top 10, they're like, oh, this is awesome. And I think I was talking about on our stream that the wireless CTF was fun in a way. It was almost like it's competitive, but it's also collaborative, and it's and it's a new feeling of competing, you know, where you're competing against your friends, really. And that's, I think, the biggest hurdle to overcome as a player in playing this CTF, because you have this notion of it's a CTF, you know, it's me against the world, you know, they're going to judge me for my score. And in the end, it's like, you know, Dark Matter didn't score shit, but, you know, I still consider him a friend. So, I mean,
First of all, I would like you to know we are all judging you for your score.
oh,
That is true. However, of all of this, you know, Wireless Village and RF Village and RF Capture the Flag, and of all this stuff that we've built, honestly, the thing that I'm most proud of is just the community and the Discord and the way people do just step in and help each other and walk each other through things. Like, we're all just a bunch of nerds that like radios, and we should be doing this as a group of friends. And yes, okay, the number 1 team is not helping the number 2 team finish clearing the scoreboard, but at the end of the conference, people release their tools.
yeah.
You know, they put it on GitHub, and they're like, this is how I did this thing that nobody else has ever done before.
That's what White Shadow said. That's like literally how he scored points.
We have one team who's number 2 or 3 at every conference sending pull requests to the team that's number 1 at the conference, fixing their tools. Like, it's awesome. You know, I really love to see that kind of stuff of just collaboratively working together. People want to do this, and that's really, like, you can just walk in and be like, I want to crack WEP. Can somebody help me? And somebody's going to link you to Aircrack's wiki, and they're going to link you to the Getting Started guide for how to log into the environment. And they're going to say, you know, read this and let me know when you get stuck.
Yep.
And that's awesome. I can't be happier about how that all works for us.
Yeah, I mean, in the in-person, and again, I keep going back to it because that is the thing that I miss the most. But we've got everybody bringing their rigs in. I mean, we had pictures this year, which was really cool. It was awesome that people did that. But when you've got, you know, oh God, what are the Rednecks team called? Blunderbuss coming in with a clothes hanger with like 45 radios and an antenna and a cooler full of Busch Light. And they sit down and they just de-auth everybody across the board, and nobody can do anything. And everybody's looking around trying to find the most elite setup, and they're not looking at the clothes hanger hanging in the corner. I mean, it's cool stuff like that. You know, everybody's tuning up new stuff. Hey, have you tried this? Did you see this? Oh, no, I didn't. Show me what you've got. You know, we used to do the dog collar challenge. I mean, it was pretty brutal, but you had 2 people sitting across the table from each other, shocking each other, not knowing if they were shocking themselves or each other. And then, you know, Woody comes in, he's like, ha, 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 watch this. All of you get shocked now. And it was just, you know, you don't get that virtually. Now, we can give people the education, we can give people the community, Discord, but we can't get that.
There is definitely that sense. And I think, I don't know about the other villages, but the RF village in itself has a unique feeling about that kind of situation compared to whereas some of the contests at DEF CON are taking themselves way too seriously. And it's like, don't look on the screen, don't look on the screen. I'm like, dude, I'm just walking by, man. Leave me, you know, or, you know, whatnot. And I think, you know, and playing in a team, for example, this year really helped me out too, because White Shadow was like, yeah, I'm stuck here. He's like, oh, you should try this, you should try that. And he didn't give me the answer. He just kind of pointed me which way, which is like, I think a better way than here's the flag. I'm like, well, that's not what I want. I want to know what it is, right?
I would say all the mistakes you make while you're learning.
Yeah.
Like, being given the answer never teaches you it. You know,
God, no.
Yeah.
I would say us and Lockpick Village would be the 2 that I would say have that feel to it. Come in, sit down, be a noob, sit down and learn.
Right.
Okay, those are the elite guys over there. They're playing in a competition. This team over here has never played together before, but they're all going to work together and see what happens. And frankly, at some of the cons, those are the teams that end up winning. I mean, we've had players that, you know, because they were playing in the CTF have become very, very good friends over the years. it's a much bigger community than I think even other groups want to admit to. Like Ham Radio comes to us and we work together, and now they have their own village. Right. IoT is essentially unsecure wireless, and now they have their village.
Right.
So everybody's got a place in this world, but everybody still keeps coming back to us when they have questions or they want to talk to people or whatever.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff in DEF CON's kind of got that like museum of art kind of feeling where, oh, this is the CTF. Oh, you didn't sign up 9 months ago and go through the qualifiers. You can't even look at the screens, bro. The scoreboard's up there and you can see it move once in a while. Whereas what we've got and what Lockpick Village has and a few of the other groups, it's more like a petting zoo. It's like, oh, that looks cool. Can I touch it? Like, don't touch it right here. It will die and it will hurt the whole time you're dying. But over here, you can touch.
The one thing I do miss about the in-person cons is Zero going, hey, Kentaro, touch this, touch this. So I'm like, what do you want me to touch now, man? Just like...
I'm registering RF Petting Zoo right now.
Oh God! Yeah, we
open soccer. I think Milkman is right. Open Sock and Packet Hacking Village has pretty much the same feeling, maybe, but I'm just more not as involved, so I can only talk about my experience in my village. But I do think, looking at we had the Olympics this summer, and you could clearly see the difference in competition culture between the newer urban sports, skateboarding and BMX, than like the traditional gymnastics, because somebody will do a sick trick on the skateboard and they will win, but everybody else is like, oh shit, that was sick. And I think that kind of feeling that kind of feeling I do miss from the village, in person, because it's I mean, you see it on the points, but you don't see it in person going, oh shit, that. Yeah, I don't remember what team I had, but they had that tower of antennas one year that just kind of like folded out of a suitcase. I'm like, dude, that is something straight out of like a sci-fi or action movie thing, right?
It wasn't straight out of an action movie. He made it out of plumbing pipe. It was straight out of my bathroom. And again, we love you, Blunderbuss. Like, absolutely. I love seeing the stuff that you make. It's ridiculous and awesome. But watching him like weave antenna wire into PVC plumbing pipe and like an expanded drying rack coming out of a Pelican case, it's just like, yes, this is what I want to see. I don't want to see professionally made boards and perfectly soldered everything. I want to see shit that you threw together, that you pulled out of your shed, and you somehow won, because that's awesome.
So one of my favorite contests we ever had, and Textile actually helped us write the scoring engine on it, was a Wi-Fi antenna shootout across the DEF CON hallway. So we were, I forget how far we were. It's like 30 meters or 40 meters across all of the people to get the lowest jitter between your connection and ours. And that was awesome because people came with all kinds of craziness. We gave them about a month advance notice. They showed up at the Riv and they were like, here, I got this. Like, I don't even know if that's legal, but sure, why not? One guy walking around with like a satellite antenna on a broomstick. I mean, it was just really cool shit. And it's those kinds of contests that were just, kind of the old school, go put, rung what you brung, that kind of thing. So
yeah, no.
With how much you guys have been talking about on-site stuff, did you guys have any on-site stuff this year? I heard some.
Yeah,
rumors.
We had two things.
I heard some rumors that people couldn't find them.
Woody was out and about during the whole conference, and he was carrying some stuff. And Eric was out and about during the whole conference, I'm sure singing Taylor Swift, so he was very easy to find.
Payday for life.
We love Taylor. And he had a bunch of stuff going too. So there was stuff there. I don't know that the people that typically play or would know how to track something were there.
Right.
And we know that, you don't know how to track things, so we're not worried about you.
I wasn't there, so it didn't matter.
I was, and that comment was clear.
Too busy doing interviews.
I know a guy who had a whole box of tracking shit, but he didn't turn it on for shit. So
was too busy giving interviews.
I know what we'll do.
You're welcome for getting all those people to come play your game.
Here, we'll set up a table. We'll write Dark Matter's name on it. We'll say signing party here, and I'll just put the fox there. I know he'll never find it.
And if I do find it, I win the game.
Hey Zero, you and I should talk so I can put a fox on mic and him not noticing it.
Why are people following me again?
We're like, why are people pointing this antenna at me? The one thing I can say,
really strong signal.
So the one thing I can say, one year you did ask me to be a fox, and I did play a fox, and it's a really weird feeling to have people point antennas at you, or getting stalked by a guy with antenna. Because I'm like walking, there's a guy with like a Yagi going. I'm like switching around. I'm like moving around, and he's like, stop pointing at this shit at me, man.
It was mostly passive. Don't worry.
No, it's fine.
I still think that the Akita as the fox was the best fox we've ever had.
All right.
Especially when the Akita walked in and I said, "And here's our fox," and they got pissed off because they were an Akita.
That was definitely one of my favorite foxes.
At the same time, I didn't enjoy that DEF CON as much because I'm like hiding in my room. Once in a while, I'm like, I gotta get off because people are pointing way too much shit at me. Just like, or like, I had people randomly follow me. Stop following me. And I was like, oh, let me turn that shit off for a second. Because I had like literally a guy with a Yagi follow me into the bathroom. I'm like, okay, this is getting stupid. Just like.
And what else happened to the
CIA drop off, weren't you?
In the back and show us where the Yagi touched you.
I think that's gonna be
triggered. Are you triggered?
That's a new addition to the competition. Is like team players can volunteer foxes, and if the fox doesn't get caught during the con, they win like a point for that.
Hey, Kentaro.
We've discussed that. The problem is I don't trust the teams at all.
Right.
So, turning it off, wrapping it in aluminum foil. I didn't turn it off and that kind of nonsense. Like, we desperately want to add more defensive stuff.
Right.
Like, this is your AP. You need to protect it from everybody. And we had working ideas for how we wanted to do that. And then there was this global pandemic bullshit,
right.
And it never got developed because we had to abandon it for this other stuff. But honestly, look for that and feel free to contribute ideas to that, because I want teams to have to, like, okay, we signed up as a team. Here's your access point to defend it. You'll be graded on uptime. Like, I want to have some fun.
Right. I think the nature of the RF spectrum, it makes that a little bit more difficult compared to like, here's an obscure architecture that nobody has built before. Defend this, right?
Here's an analog PBX from 64 years ago.
Right. So, no, I think it was a stellar year again. So you mentioned something down the future. Hopefully next year we'll have an in-person con sometime somewhere. I talked about this. Fingers crossed. But even like, DEF CON next year, hopefully it will be back in person. And then I mentioned on the other stream that if it is in person, I definitely want to submit a show us your rig or antenna evening session where we just kind of bring all our shit.
Please just do it in the village this time so that we don't have to come find you while we're working with the boxes that we built in the village to come down to show you our box.
And then, a side note, if that happens, Loseling, you have to bring that bike of yours. That's ridiculous. If you haven't seen it, go check out his Twitter. Talking about hiding antennas on a bicycle, Loseling has come up with a great idea.
Where are you putting it? Is it a carbon bike, I hope?
If you haven't seen it, it's on his Twitter, but yeah.
It's also pasted in our Discord. He's got a whole bunch of like lights all over the bike.
I saw that. Okay, I saw that.
He took dark matters, LEDs as a future upgrade, and just took it one notch up.
I did see that. Yes, I thought that I saw it while I was actually teaching and thought it was something that was a joke. If it's real, okay, I'll look at it again.
Oh yeah, no, he actually built that. That's real.
That is real.
He wasn't kidding.
we were talking pre-show about this. Is Loseling and his hard head, for example, too. Is like Loseling has an uncanny talent of taking everything and just turning it up to 11.
Yeah.
You know, we have seen Wi-Fi hard hats, we have seen Wi-Fi bicycle setups and shit, and then Loseling is like, here, watch this, and it's just like. But no, it was truly awesome. But like I said, you know, hopefully we'll get to sit down and have like a friendly show me mine, show me yours kind of situation.
Whoa! That's a different con. That's a different party.
RF petting zoo.
Wait, it is in Vegas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna stay in Vegas.
So.
Well, RF petting zoo could have so many connotations based on a lot of the people in Discord. Hi, Pike.
Mr. Bill goes the AVN conference.
Were you guys at ShmooCon the year that the Swinger conference was across the street?
Oh God, maybe.
Because that was absolutely, I mean, you want to talk about the wireless shit show? That was the ShmooCon shit show. Oh my God, that was crazy. Oh.
Yeah, it's you know, those are definitely in-person cons.
Oh, yeah.
Incidents or experiences that I do miss, because there's like,
yeah.
I remember that, you know, like Star Trek convention, and there was some other magic convention and some other conventions happening, and then they're like, I saw the guys all decked out in Star Trek Anson uniforms going, these guys are a bunch of nerds looking at the DEF CON guys. I'm like, wait, I don't want to hear shit from a guy wearing like a body full of spandex of a fictional, you know, universe.
You like them then in spandex, don't you?
Well, I do. The Star Trek uniform just isn't my thing. I like full body latex more than spandex. So,
God, you and Blue Knight,
guys.
wow.
See you later.
And now back to Kintara's kinks.
Hey,
brought to you by Safety Third.
Safety Third, always. That's my safe word, ironically.
Hey, wait a minute. You can't wear that hat. I thought you could tell the difference for every episode based on your hat. You must have worn that hat already.
No. You get me wrong. Hat and shirt combination.
Oh yeah. The black shirt's really rare.
No. Just, see,
Marmot.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Doesn't show my nipples as much. So.
The tape.
You knew there was something missing in this call.
All right. Let's get back to this whole thing. Any questions from the chat as we are about to wrap things up very shortly?
Real quick, do you guys have anything that you felt you left on the table this year?
Left on the table is definitely new challenge development.
New challenges. Yeah.
That was fully left on the table, and we. Again, I'm really proud of the development that we did do, and there's only so many of us and only so much time. I'm not mad that we got accomplished what we did, but you know, with 20 more people, I could do this twice as fast. So more volunteers, please. And honestly, like, if you have a good idea for a challenge, and this is anyone, talk about it in Discord, and we will help you turn it into a challenge. I would love to see more submitted challenges. And this year, like every year, we had several people talk about, you know, I'd love to make a challenge. It's like, yeah, do it. Tell me what you want to do. Let's make this happen. Like we want this to be bigger, and it doesn't have to just be us driving it. I will take over your challenge if you're willing to help do the work to make it, you know, exist.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point is come up with a good idea, especially in Discord. And I am guilty of not being in there as often as I'd like to be, and I wish I was more, and I'm going to do a better job of doing that.
Oh, you heard it here. You heard it here.
Get an idea, put it into Discord. You're going to have 15 or 20 people comment on, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? Now, all of a sudden, you flesh something out. You've gotten some feedback on it. Zero's got an architecture for you to build to. This is possible. And all you need to do is have a cool idea of something that you've seen done or been a part of, and we can incorporate it. That's how most of our stuff exists.
And
Yeah, you want to know what I need for a new Wi-Fi challenge? I need a let's see. I need a host APD config, and I need a WPA supplicant config. And now your challenge is part of my contest. Like that's the whole thing. Like that's all I expect from somebody. Like we can do this. If there's some weird config that you think is common enough, because we don't do, you know, fake BS, but like if there's a real life challenge that is missing, help us at it. I'd love to.
I mean, our initial, you know, 10 years of challenges were, this is what we saw while we were actively working in the field. Okay, cool. This is now a challenge because I had to solve this and it was kind of a pain in the ass. You know, PMKID came out and it wasn't PMKID yet. So we built that challenge and we actually worked with Aruba and said, hey, we'll put this on every access point at DEF CON just to prove our point. And nobody cracked it. So then tools started to get built and people started working and all of a sudden they started to find ways of getting things into place. And now we have something very similar to it in the challenges now.
Right.
But it takes real world stuff to make this stuff happen. I mean, again, like you said, we could come up with, you know, a digital to analog converted PBX from 1963 and make that, you know, a protocol that we're pushing data across, but nobody's ever going to use that. But you're going to use Wi-Fi and you're going to, you know, have to be in a situation where WPA3 is in play. There isn't a lot of big changes with AX, but the hardware is different. We can virtualize that. We can make that work. AD, I don't know if that's virtualized yet, but the 60 gig stuff's really cool. In person, I have some ideas for that, but we can't do anything virtual with that yet.
Yeah.
So,
and I think, you know, even in the Wi-Fi cracking side, like, you know, Kismet supporting Unicode is a huge upgrade for international players like myself, right?
Oh yeah, we're super excited about that. So now I'm gonna add more emojis.
Right? Or like, or like general, you can have SSIDs that are in another language, and you know, part of it will be trying to figure out what it is and how to solve it, right?
Yep.
I mean,
one of the things that I've left out, actually, I intentionally have an is ASCII check in most of my code, and there's a little comment in there like, I should remove this, and I keep testing tools and finding no, I shouldn't, because the way we treat the international world is horrible.
yeah,
I think we're getting close to me removing that chunk of code. I think enough things are now working well enough that if I start giving you wild character sets, most of the tools are going to handle it well. And if they don't, that's something to learn, you know? Like, this tool can't handle it, I need to use Kismet or whatever, and that's a valuable lesson to learn.
yeah.
But I think that is going to happen in the near future now that Kismet's better, and you know, we'll see how the crackers like it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think you know, like I said, I mean, there are a lot of things that work in the ASCII world that in the Unicode world kind of just crap out because they're just not built for that. I mean, you know, and it's and you see that in a lot of tools, not only in the RF environment. You know, you see that with almost every you know, bad USB HID device. They only support 101 US keyboard layouts, and then, well, not everybody in the world has a US keyboard layout, right? So it's just like
they don't.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about? There's other keyboards?
Yes, there are.
Oh no, there's Dvorak. That's right. There's Dvorak. I forgot.
Right.
Never mind. There's two others.
There's also the split keyboard. And this is like
I have 104 US keyboard layout. That's 101 the old stuff.
Often the problem is that, you know, changing the keyboard layouts key is beyond the 104 basic keys, and it's like 107. So there's no way to actually change it except for like the initial. But that's a different talk. Like I said, I think internationalization for the competition is going to be another super fun thing for learning more other environments. And
it sounds like Kintara is making some challenges now.
Oh, I will make some Japanese challenges.
I'm in. I think RF CTF. What am I on? 19 is going to be in Japanese.
Yeah.
It'll be very.
Do you have a Mexican one too?
Yeah, somewhere.
Well, there you go. For 19, we'll do a Spanish layout because just a couple of Enyes and shit. And then for RFCTF 20, we'll do some wicked kanji character set language.
The Mexican challenge is gonna be "What's up, ese?" and the reply back will be like "Hey, vato," and that'll be the flag.
First, it's 10 points if you walk up to Kentaro and say "What's up, SA?"
That's gonna be the new Fox under here. Like
it's 15 points if he doesn't punch you.
But Monkey Dragon goes cabron. Mr. Bill goes onegaishimasu. But look, no, I think there's multiple layers on a competition where one is to expand your technical know-how, but it's also I always feel like it should expand your culture or your view outside of the world. Like oh, I didn't know that PogSac was it still a thing, or well, if this is the challenge, then this is the same as a restaurant pager thing, right? I mean,
yeah.
How that applies to your real life and how the way you see the world changes. I think that is a successful CTF. Other than let me just find the way to submit a flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. I'm with you on that one. I think
Rick, you mentioned earlier that all of the challenges are based on real life scenarios, right? I mean, close to real life scenarios, and I think that is a unique aspect and helpful because clearly, I mean, the skills you learn for playing the CTF are now applicable in real life scenarios, right? So
right, like we talked with White Shadow, it's like his job is now because of this,
So
it's cool. We've actually had a lot of prior contestants that have come back to us and been like, "Thank you so much. I now am working in a field that I love, and I'm not in help desk anymore. I really like this Wi-Fi stuff, but I didn't think there was actually a job. We came in second place and I got recruited by so and so, or we came in first place and I got recruited by this." And it's becoming less uncommon now. It's hey, they got some exposure doing this. It's pretty cool. I mean, it took us a long time to read all the IEEE docs and figure all this stuff out. We determined years ago that we didn't want people to have to do that anymore. We wanted to give them an opportunity to actually learn this stuff. Right. So
that's awesome.
No, and I think it's well, like I said, congratulations on a successful year.
Heck yeah.
Hopefully next year will be even better and more fun. Everybody in the chat, thanks for chatting up
with us today.
Soma Milkman, your Twitter sucks. I don't know what to do with that. Everybody, Neighborhood of Bragg, Milkman, Mr. Bill, Monkey Dragon, I see your net, all of them. Thanks. Monkey Dragon says, "Love you all, amazing folks. Thank you very much." Kobeski, thanks for dropping by.
Label.
Guys, I want to just put this out there because you guys have been becoming a voice of Wi-Fi and RF, and the industry needs it, and this whole community needs. We got the Discord going, but you guys doing this is phenomenal, and I really, really am happy that you guys are doing it and successful with it. So keep it up.
We will, as long as Mike doesn't get sick again.
Hey, I got COVID. I got super immunity now. I got the vaccine.
Dude, you should really
COVID,
stop licking shit on the floor, man. I told you before, stop licking.
So are you a member of Alpha Delta Epsilon yet?
I haven't got the Epsilon, but I'm looking at it pretty hard.
I already buy everything at the feed store, so I'm good.
I'm ordering some horse tranquilizer from the doctor because I heard it works fine. All right, totally they're unrelated, but I think horse shit. People are like, oh, they're injected. Dude, bodybuilders and K-hole addicts have been using horse shit for years. I don't know why the big fuss is about.
Horse testosterone is amazing, let me tell you. I've been lifting for 3 days, and look at this gain.
Gains,
bro. Mike,
man.
Are we good for next week?
Yeah, let's
or
do
we
next
have to
week,
schedule?
Dude. I think we should be good for next week.
All right, we'll come up with some content
Tuesday,
again.
We'll figure out some content. we'll get this on. We'll get back going. Get this thing rolling again. So
And hopefully we'll get into a time that Milkman will find it on his Twitter again. Seriously, man.
Twitter's hard.
All right, guys. Thanks for all.
Pleasure. It's a real pleasure.
See you guys. Thank you so much
for all you do. I'll talk to you guys
Thanks,
later.
guys.
Thanks everyone for
Later,
hanging
guys.
out. Peace out. Love you.